Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea. Sakaleji, the headlines. President HH urges Zambians to stop paying attention to social media as VIP implores the church to denounce homosexuality. ACC implored to investigate the 26 million kwacha Robert MAKASA University scandal. The Police Public Complaints Commission implores people to report earring officers. And in international news, Nigeria struck by worst floods in a decade. And in sports, FAS opens inquiry on alleged sexual abuse incidents on women in football. Join me with the details after this commercial.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
And now the main news in detail. A Chilanga businessman has testified before the Lusaka Magistrate Court that his reporting of Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda to the police for defamation of the president did not mean that he became the president's spokesperson. Testifying in a case where Mr. Nakachinda is accused of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema, Eric Mwabebe has narrated before Lusaka Magistrate Irene Wishimanga that he reported the accused to the police because the statement he issued against the president was disrespectful. This is in a case in which Mr. Nakachinda is accused of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema last year by alleging that he was summoning judges at his private residence.
He told the court Friday morning that he felt it was disrespectful for Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda to allege that President Hakainde Hichilema was summoning judges at his private residence. Hence, he was prompted to report him to the police for alleged defamation. Eric Mwapembe, a businessman of Chilanga, stood in the witness dock and narrated before Lusaka Magistrate Irene Wishimanga how he took a decision of reporting Mr. Nakachinda after watching a video on Facebook where the latter was at the Lusaka High Court grounds addressing people. Mr. Mwapembe, who was testifying in a case in which Mr. Nakachinda is accused of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema, further narrated before court the alleged words that the accused is said to have uttered, of which the witness narrated, and I quote, "When we were coming here, we were zooming over the weekend. Hakainde Hichilema is not sleeping, has begun to summon judges at his house in order to try and intimidate or coerce them to advance an agenda to create a one-party state in this country." End of quote. According to the witness, these were the alleged words that Mr. Nakachinda is said to have uttered in the said video that was live on Facebook, where he watched on one of the media Facebook platform. According to the court records, the outspoken opposition politician in this case is alleged to have, on the 13th of December 2021, while he was at the High Court grounds, alleged that the head of state was summoning judges at his private residence, intimidating them and coercing them to frustrate PF case of 8 members of parliament who were seeking judicial review following the Speaker's decision to chase them from Parliament. And as trial continued this morning, the witness during cross-examination refuted claims that he was a United Party for National Development member when he was questioned by the defense, and when asked by the defense why he reported to the police instead of the president, he claimed he felt it was disrespectful. After hearing testimony from this witness, the court at this point adjourned the matter to a later date. Trial continues. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka Magistrate Court has heard how Opposition Patriotic Front member Chishimba Kambweli's former house help, who is accused with others of stealing 160,000 United States dollars from him, allegedly purchased a house in Lusaka's John Howard compound worth 250,000 kwacha. Safarin Chileshe, unemployed, has testified that Esther Munyeka came to her with 250,000 kwacha cash to purchase the said house. In this matter, 5 of Dr. Kambweli's former servants are jointly charged with his daughter's friend, 23-year-old Stacey Jones, and 3 police officers with the theft of 160,000 United States dollars, monies allegedly said to have been stolen from his safe at his residence in Lusaka.
For close to 2 years now, the alleged theft case involving former National Democratic Congress leader Chishimba Kambweli's workers has continued before the Lusaka Subordinate Court. This is in a matter in which Dr. Kambweli has dragged his former workers and his daughter's best friend Stacey Jones and 3 officers to the Lusaka's Magistrate Court for allegedly stealing his money, amounting to 160,000 United States dollars. 5 of Dr. Kambweli's former employees, among them Esther Munyeka, 29, a maid, George Walia, 49, a driver, Milan Chembe, 35, a security guard, Charles Kamutengo, a gardener, and Rodney Tanga, 47, a gardener. When the matter came up this morning, the 23rd of September 2022, Sarafina Chileshe testified before Magistrate Standosa Chavala that Esther Munyeka, Dr. Kambweli's former house help, purchased a house located in Chawama's John Howard compound. Ms. Chileshe, in a further testimony, told the court that the money was paid to her in full by the accused person, and after signing the documents, they proceeded to the council for paperwork. However, the accused could not collect the said document and was later informed by the police that the said accused person had been arrested for theft. During a cross-examination, the witness told the court that the accused, Esther Munyeka, paid her the money in kwacha and cash and not in United States dollars, and that at no point did the accused mention to her that the money she was using to purchase the said house was allegedly stolen. Ms. Munyeka and her co-accused are charged with theft of servant involving 160,000 United States dollars, while Dr. Kambweli's daughter's friend, Stacey Jones, and 3 other officers are charged with theft, charges which they have all denied before court. The matter comes up on the 19th of October 2022 for continued trial. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
President Hakainde Hichilema says that his administration has demonstrated seriousness in reviving the economy through growth of about 2 to 3% in 1 year. He advised Zambians to stop paying attention to unnecessary social media convention and focus on real issues. The head of state says he had several trade investment discussions in New York and that he hopes that cost of internet to go down in the next 6 months after once Starlink starts operating in Zambia. Speaking upon arrival at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport from New York after attending the 77th session of UN General Assembly, President Hakainde Hichilema believes Starlink will revolutionize the ICT sector and reduce the cost of doing business. The head of state expressed optimism of improved quality of internet once the telecoms company sets best in the country.
But for us, the agenda is simple. For you, for us, is to bring this country together. Elections happen every 5 years. Second Thursday of August in every election year. 5 years, really. The rest of the period is to really work for development, to bring the country together. We are one people. How can I tell what language she speaks from just her face? All I know, she's a Zambian. And she's equal stakeholder in this country. It's very important, extremely important. We want to bring the country together. We don't want to pluralize the country. 19 million people, I beg your pardon. 19 million people. It's not a lot of people. I know in other terms you think it's a lot of people. It's not a lot of people. Some countries develop using their population number. For For us, the population numbers are not big enough, so we have to use every skill, every human being, every talent, every experience we have is essential in the development and in our quest to improve this country. Just remember where we are coming from. In August 2021, the economy was down minus 2.8%. In 1 year, we've brought it up to close to 3%. Effectively, we've grown in 1 year, or will grow in 1 year by 5%. We need everyone to come on. All the engines must fire. And I want to advise something. There's a lot of pep talk going on. Social media, too much pep talk. Let's get our job focused. Let's get our eyes on the ball. That's what we need to do. You are monopolizing the question. I love my lady. The passengers haven't come out. This is serious. We're supposed to say, any quick question? Thank you very much. I hope we answered your question.
Republican Vice President Mtalena Lumango has urged the churches in Zambia to help people known to be practicing homosexuality with prayers stating that they need spiritual help beyond their incarceration in correctional facilities. Speaking during a state church engagement media briefing Friday, the Vice President says it is the duty of the church to come up with one united voice in condemning this vice as one way of supporting the government's stance. Meanwhile, Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia Executive Director Bishop Andrew Mwenda, who was one of the clergy present at the meeting, says there is need for police to be proactive in responding to these concerns in line with the law.
Our generation shall praise your name. Our generation shall praise your name.
This is a song which, according to Zambia's Republican Vice President Mtalena Lumango, strongly reaffirms Zambia's stance as a Christian nation. Various social happenings in the country, such as the recently held Lusaka July Festival, which was characterized by cross-dressing for men, as well as sodomy sexual abuse cases in the country, have however brought the country's Christian status under question. This prompted Republican Vice President Mtalena Lumango to address the issue Friday morning during a state and church engagement which saw various church leaders come together to discuss the matter. Speaking during the meeting, the Vice President says accusations that the current administration supports gay rights have continued, despite public announcement that it does not support these acts. She has therefore called on the church to re-echo government stance on the matter.
We should therefore focus on being united and speaking with one voice as a nation. The church should build an intentional and purposeful message to grossly condemn these acts in the country. You are aware that in history, sodomy was used as a dehumanizing weapon against weaker members of the male society. On the issue of National Day of Prayer, fasting, I think there is repentance also, and reconciliation. I want to thank you all for sending representatives to sit on the organizing committee for this very important day. My colleagues, particularly in social media, that want to say this, they have cancelled. This government, no, this government does not cancel. We leave it to God to guide us.
Meanwhile, church representatives who are present during the meeting have spoken out on the issue.
There are certain pictures that have been shown and the police knows certain things of that kind. And they're not taking that step. I think on our side as EFZ, we want to request that the police need to become very proactive.
We now ask you, Your Honor, that probably through your ministry, the permanent secretary, you can allow us to advance this by having television dialogue forums, radio dialogue forums, and many other forums so that we emphasize indeed the national values and principles.
So we will stand with you as long as you see that this is wrong. The day that you will change, let it be made known to you now that we will not stand with you if you make this right.
They are still human beings, even though we do not accept their tendencies. Therefore, the church as a mother is always there to help them, to offer any kind of help that these people may need, so that they may, if possible, convert or live in a manner that is acceptable in a society like Zambia.
The emphasis from the meeting was that homosexuals should also be given spiritual counseling in addition to them facing the law. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Police Public Complaints Commission has implored citizens to report any misconduct by police, as no one is above the law. Commission Chairperson Zunga Siakalima has told journalists at an engagement meeting in Lusaka Friday that most people are not aware that the Office of the Police Public Complaints Commission is mandated to hear complaints about police officers who abuse their office. Mr. Siakalima says citizens who report such matters are protected and that their cases will be heard within the shortest possible time. He says the Commission makes recommendations to relevant authorities on the action that should be taken against the offenders.
If it amounts to a criminal nature, we'll involve the Director of Public Prosecution, who will then give authority to have the matter investigated by investigating wings, and the matter will be taken before court. And we can refer any other matter, depending on how it is, to other institutions, like Anti-Corruption Commission, the Drug Enforcement, if it's something that involves drug, and this we have done as a commission.
After a response is given back within 21 days of acknowledging your case, Secretariat works hard that within 3 months that case, if possible, be disposed of, except that we have people that withdraw after lodging in a complaint. For reasons not known to us, they withdraw their cases.
Two concerned citizens have urged the Anti-Corruption Commission ACC to investigate the alleged 26 million kwacha scandal that took place at Robert Makasa University in Chinsali in 2016 under the Minister of Higher Education, under the then Minister of Higher Education, Professor Nkanduluo. Addressing the media Friday, communications expert Mwala Kalaluka and social commentator Josephat Kasikili says the alleged misappropriation of funds released by the Ministry of Finance for the university means that various essential capital components needed by the university may not be in place to aid the delivery of quality education. Meanwhile, in a phone interview with Camnet News, Professor Nkanduluo distances herself from the allegations.
In line with the anti-corruption crusade that the United Party for National Development UPN administration has embarked on, stakeholders in the country have been calling for quick action on alleged corrupt activities, especially those in the education sector, stating that this is the center for Zambia's development. Of interest is the Robert Kapasa Makasa University in Chinsali, where 26 million kwacha was in 2016 allegedly misappropriated under the watch of then Minister of Higher Education, Professor Nkanduluo. Media reports indicate that while the money was released to the university through the Ministry of Finance, a number of procurements were not done, which include the procurement of library furniture, equipment, books, and security equipment, among others. In this regard, two concerned citizens said there is need for the Anti-Corruption Commission ACC to take interest in the matter. A communication expert, Mwala Kalaluka, in the company of a social commentator, Josephat Kasikili, were addressing the media Friday.
There is need for explanation. We are aware that not so recent past, Professor Nkanduluo did render a voluntary explanation on the FTJ University matter. And also in the same vein, we would want to agree with the concerned citizen that even on this matter of the 26 million kwacha for MAKASA University, there has to be an explanation, not to any individual or to the media, but to the law enforcement agencies.
It has come to our attention through press reports, obviously, that 26 million kwacha, which was released by the Ministry of Finance on 4th October 2016 to the Ministry of Higher Education, intended to carry out capital projects at Chinsali's Robert MAKASA University, was misappropriated. We are also aware that funds misapplied. At the time, Professor Honorable Kanduluo was Higher Education Minister, means that various essential capital components needed by the university may not be in place so as to aid quality delivery of teaching and boost morale of both the learners and the staff of the institution.
Meanwhile, in a phone interview, Professor Kanduluo has distanced herself from the matter concerning the university.
I said I'm not interested in discussing those things. The Robert MAKASA University has a vice chancellor. Go and discuss with the vice chancellor.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Honorable.
There is a vice chancellor there.
The concerned citizens have called for all alleged corrupt activities to be thoroughly investigated for the development of the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A parliamentarian intends to move a motion in Parliament next week Wednesday to compel the United Party for National Development Administration to extend the student loan scholarship to private higher learning institutions. Kanfinsa Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe says the loan scholarships are meant for students to pay back when they start working, and says it should not be limited to government institutions alone. He says members of the general public should speak to their members of parliament and convince them to support the motion, which he says will benefit a lot of people. Meanwhile, PF Shuangandu Member of Parliament Stephen Kampyongo says they cannot praise the government for recruiting teachers when it is their responsibility to do so. Mr. Kampyongo adds that what the government should instead do is focus on rebuilding the economy and not blame the PF for their alleged failures.
They say education is the greatest equalizer, but most students in Zambia have been finding it difficult to attend their tertiary education due to lack of resources. While the government has been supporting students in some public institutions with loan scholarships, the scholarships have not been enough as most students are still left out. Kamfinsa Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe, however, says he will next week on Wednesday be moving a motion in Parliament to compel government to extend bursaries to private colleges and universities and assist aged members of the general public to compel their MPs to support the motion.
Motion where we ask government that don't limit a loan to students at public universities, because now it is a loan, meaning anyone who will be able to pay back should be able to be supported by government. The law is very clear. It simply says those who wish to apply for a loan can apply. So the law doesn't discriminate that it is only UNZA and CBU and Mulungushi University and these other public universities.
Meanwhile, PF Shwangando, Member of Parliament Stephen Kampyongo, says the current administration should not be praised for doing their duty, such as employing of teachers, but says they should be held accountable for failing to deliver their promises.
The fact that the sitting government increases the number of teachers, what then do they expect to be doing as government if they want to be praised for doing what is required of any government sitting? That's why I'm equating and comparing it to a parent. When you are forming a family, as the family is growing, you need to change the responsibilities. The responsibilities doubles as you have more children.
Meanwhile, Usakile, Member of Parliament Pevio Makalobo, says more than 400 workers on the copper belt have recently lost their jobs and that more are yet to lose their job due to lack of investment in Mopani copper mine, hence calling on the government to quickly sort the copper mine saga.
Those that may be willing don't have anywhere to source the money from. So the end result, they are asking their workers to go home. As we are speaking, over 400 employees of the contractors to Mopani have been sent home. More are yet to receive letters of termination of employment. What this means is that we are going to have a lot of people out of employment.
In Matero, Member of Parliament Mao Sampa has hinted that there is too much violence in the UPND administration and that no action is being taken against the perpetrators.
People that had attacked me, they arrested them the same night. They were in Matero police station. PF lost, UPND came in. 3 weeks later, those people had stabbed me. They went to court. They only appeared once. After that, the docket has been lost. I tried to follow up with the prosecution unit, where I just wanted the docket number. I tried to get from the police because my lawyers wanted it for the court case. We've never seen or have had any cooperation either from the police.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A youth-focused organization called Young Africa Zambia has observed that there is a mismatch between what the job market is demanding and the skills training being offered in most institutions. YAZ is empowering disadvantaged youth through various skills, and it has so far managed to train 1,200 young people, with an overall target of 2,250 by 2023 having been established in 2016. The non-governmental organization Friday held a stakeholders meeting where it invited youth-led organizations and experts in different fields for a group discussion.
According to UNICEF, Zambia is a country of young people, with the majority of the population under the age of 18, and that many of these children are affected by both monetary and non-monetary poverty. An estimated 54.5% of the population lives below the national poverty line. However, Zambia is sitting on a ticking time bomb, as evidenced by the explosive mushrooming of young, ruthless criminals addicted to a concoction of life-threatening drugs. When everyone seems to have turned a blind eye, Young Africa Zambia is looking for help to identify such vulnerable youths.
You can think it's a joke that sometimes we fail to find good partnerships, but it is true. It's something that we have struggled with in our programming, and sometimes we may end up getting youths that are not really vulnerable per se because we have not interacted with our partners. So
they are offering various training skills, and their criteria is looking at the most vulnerable.
The courses they are designing, cutting and tailoring. We have cosmetology and hairdressing, ICT, power electrical, and film production. So
their Skills to Life project has gone beyond in catering for the most forsaken of society.
We have a wellness space. So in both of our centers, we have a wellness space where a young person goes and accesses sexual reproductive health services. These include collection of condoms, family planning, mental health. We also have mental health assessments. As you've seen, young people these days there's a lot of suicide cases, and so within our space we have mental health therapy, counseling, and we also have drug addiction cases. Some of our students under the Skills to Live, we accommodate even young people who are addicts.
They are providing a solution in meeting the job market demand.
In Zambia is demanding certain skill sets, which most of our institutions they are not able to provide. And as Young Africa, that's the key component that we are looking at. We are not offering skills just as skills.
Not only that, they also go beyond by offering entrepreneurship skills.
We go beyond the skill teaching itself and give them the other skills, which we are calling the life skills. And beyond that, we also realize to say it's not everyone that is going to get a job. It's not everyone that qualifies and tomorrow they'll be able to get a job. There's high levels of unemployment in Zambia, and the industry there is not able to absorb each and every person that graduates or they get a skill. Then from there we bring in entrepreneurship, and so we teach our students the skill. We teach them the soft skills in terms of life skills. We also teach them entrepreneurship.
Others should emulate this gesture and nip the mushrooming of junkies in the bud before a whole generation is lost. Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
Meanwhile, Young Africa Zambia's Sexual Reproductive Health Program Officer has cautioned women against being too busy for personal health by using shortcuts that pose risks to their lives. Caro Piri says she has followed Camnet News stories of 2 women who suffered almost a similar fate after seeking family planning injections that resulted in one having her hand amputated with keen interest. She has cautioned women to value their health and lives by seeking proper medical services other than using unconventional means.
A question that begs answers is that, are most women aware of their sexual reproductive health? Wikipedia describes sexual and reproductive health as a field of research, healthcare, and social activism that explores the health of an individual's reproductive system and sexual well-being during all stages of their life. From the feedback that has so far been received, many women have argued that they are knowledgeable of sexual reproductive health. Why then do we see reports of both men and women seeking harmful services of traditional doctors to seek solutions to their bedroom problems? Why then do we see reports of both men and women seeking harmful services of traditional doctors to seek solutions to their bedroom problems? On the other hand, others are using shortcuts. For example, Camnet News recently carried a story of a woman of Lusaka who sought the services of a self-proclaimed doctor for family planning medication. Since she was a busy woman running multiple businesses, she wanted the easy way out and paid 20 kwacha for a jab, and her hand wasted away and got amputated. Just yesterday, Camnet had another report of a woman who is nursing a wound on her hand after a jab for family planning. Both women have been blamed on social media. After all, family planning is free at government hospitals. Are people being fair? Is there enough sensitization regarding sexual reproductive health? An expert on the topic has made the following observation.
Basically, for that woman, I followed that story. It could be because she was looking at 2 things. She wanted to save her marriage and also her business. So you find that when people are busy, they don't want to care for their lives because also care has to come in. You have to care. They understand. Women, when they're pregnant, they go to the facility. They've never had doctors to say, come in my home and help me deliver. So that kind of care should continue in women where they value themselves, they value their lives. They don't have to be too much busy on the expense like it happened for the woman, reaching to the extent of being amputated. That was so sad. It is because sometimes they wouldn't value, but most of the clinics and facilities and these organizations like ours, we've done a lot of sensitization to ensure that we emphasize that for clinical things, go to facilities. They are free, we don't even have to pay. But let's put value on ourselves as women and ensure that we attend and go to the right facilities.
According to her, Young Africa Zambia has been carrying enough sensitization on the topic.
I think as Young Africa, we are really trying. We've made brochures, we've made outreach.
Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum Products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. The Zambia Statistics Agency says it has done 100% enumerations, marking at the end of the extension of the mop-up phase of the 2022 census. Zamstat Interim Statistician General Mlengam Sepa says the mop-up, which began on the 14th to the 21st of September 2022, was meant to reach out to areas which were left out during the actual census period. Mr. Msepa, however, says his office is still receiving data from districts with weak internet connectivity, such as Shangombo, Sioma, and Kaoma district. He says it is expected that all data will be transmitted to his office by Sunday, 25th September 2022.
This 0.4, you are talking about 156 clusters or EAs not yet cleared, which we expect right now. GIS is working on that to try and give a feedback and to now clear these areas. Lusaka this morning at 100, but I think as we see more data, once they download, that should have been improved as well. And I think for us, this is quite an achievement. Out of the 38,570, only 156 yet cleared this morning. The other thing is that data transmission is still continuing, and that could explain part of the remaining clearance numbers. Now, this data transmission is continuing from some of the districts which have got weak internet connectivity. It has yet to be completed.
The Lusaka City Council has underscored its commitment to addressing inequalities among citizens living in informal settlements. Lusaka City Council Mayor Chilando Chitangala says the new urban agenda adopted in 2016 puts national and local governments on the path of transformation to achieve sustainable development goals. She says Zambia recognizes the various urban challenges that the country is facing and remains determined towards the attainment of Sustainable Development Goal number 11, which aspires to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. She was speaking during the media workshop on the participatory slum upgrading program, Phase 3 being piloted in Lusaka's Kanyama constituency. Speaking earlier, Civic Forum of Housing and Habitat in Zambia Executive Director Grace Mtonga notes that the urbanization has gone ahead of planning, hence the need to reverse the situation. The participatory slum upgrading program addressing the living conditions of millions of slum dwellers worldwide and focuses on the challenges in slums and informal settlements and works in close cooperation with the communities based on partnership.
3 is actually trying to look at the urban issues and challenges that are being faced by the residents of Kanyama. We know that Zambia has been urbanizing at a very rapid rate, which is 4% per annum, and a population growth rate of about 3% per annum. Because of these challenges, urbanization has actually gone ahead of.
The new urban agenda adopted in 2016 puts national and local governments on the path of transformation to achieve sustainable development goals, goal number 11. It cannot be overemphasized that by involving all stakeholders, cities can easily witness transformation, change, and ensure a better life for everyone in the urbanized Zambia. It is noted that the media is a key ally in the development as it provides information to citizens, and as such, the workshop provides an opportunity for continued engagement towards building a mindset that is determined to change the narrative towards sustainable environmental management through the PSUP. We have nearly 70% of Zambia's urban dwellers living in informal settlements with limited access to basic services, coupled with high poverty levels and increasing inequalities.
Mwalilanda village head woman in Chongwe district of Lusaka province, Edna Mwalusha, has urged other traditional leaders to emphasize the need to observe equality among their subjects, stating that many men, especially in rural settings, prohibit their wives from engaging in economic activities. In an interview, the village head woman says she has, however, begun conducting village engagement meetings in her community to sensitize her subjects on inclusive participation in development. She notes that all urban areas have made significant progress in achieving gender equality, but rural areas are still lagging behind, with many people holding on to unprogressive traditional beliefs.
So nima baitana bantu banga mu muzimwanga so nima baitana kuti bana banga bwerani kono chikulu kuti muzisungana bwino pa nyumba tieni ku chechi muzimayi okulupirika mu chechi muzimayi wa chinayi amasunga nyumba yake naye bambo naye ni kumuuza mankhalidwe ngati muyenda ku chechi mumasunga bwino nyumba yanu ndiye kuti bana bakule mtendere bana bakaona ati pa nyumba muyambana olwayenda ku skulu maindi amaikache ku nyumba mkamba kachani kama nkhalidwe samapunzira bwino amankhala na maganizo akuti nkaenda ku nyumba nizapeza vakudya kulibe bamayi nibo kumudwa so mwamene ni mapunzisira ine mu munzi mwanga bana banga bamene ni masunga benango apeze kati mukazi pa nyumba ni wovutikira ine kansi bamuna banga ine niende nisebenze kwa kuti pa nyumba tinkale mtendere bamapeze kati bamuna bansanje kambiri bamuna bansanje sibasirira mukazi kuti aenda asebenze paja nao bafunika kubankazi kapansi kuti mwamuna ati kunabwera ni gender issue masikwano ni gender issue na eve mkazi angenera apa aletako ndalama na eve mwamuna angenera apa aletako ndalama ndiye kuti pa nyumba bana mzabasunga bwino.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
What began as a small vision, today it's become a big vision.
Camnet TV 10/6. As we celebrate this day, we say thank you to our viewers and clients for the support and making sure Camnet TV is your #1 station. A new chapter has started as we give you nothing but the best in our programming and reliable news Camnet TV offers through our dedicated management and staff members.
When God is within us, there's nothing that we cannot do.
Happy 60th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
We'll now take a look at what we have in our international item. The center-left movement for the liberation of Sao Tome and Principe Social Democratic Party has held a thin majority in the 55-seat National Assembly since 2018 thanks to an alliance with the Democratic Convergence Party, but the outfit has since quit the coalition. The Economic Community of West Africa states has decided to impose sanctions on individuals in the military government of Guinea in response to last year's coup in Conakry. Here's a roundup of international news.
As Malian authorities held the traditional military parade Thursday to mark the country's Independence Day in the presence of the head of Guinea's military junta, Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya, West African leaders were meeting in New York to attend the UN General Assembly on the sideline. They agreed at the emergency summit Thursday to impose gradual sanctions on Guinea's junta over its flexibility and setting a date to return to civilian rule. A summary of the meeting said that the leaders agreed on gradual sanctions on a list of people linked to Guinean junta who would be identified very soon by the bloc's leadership. The West African bloc has been struggling with a string of military coups in the region for the past 2 years. Mali underwent coups in August 2020 and May 2021, followed by Guinea in September 2021 and Burkina Faso in January. ECOWAS has lifted tough sanctions that had been imposed on Mali's military regime, accepting a March 2024 return to civilian rule. But Mali and Guinea remain suspended from ECOWAS bodies. ECOWAS also condemned the arrest of Ivorian soldiers and had decided to send the president of Ghana, Togo and Senegal to Mali to obtain their release on Thursday, on Tuesday, September 27.
Sao Tome and Principe's ruling coalition could lose its parliamentary majority in Sunday's election to the centre-right Independent Democratic Action (ADI) after being rocked by internal disunity. The centre-left movement for the liberation of Sao Tome and Principe Social Democratic Party has held a thin majority in the 55-seat National Assembly since 2018, thanks to an alliance with the Democratic Convergence Party. But the outfit has since quit the coalition. Only two parties have dominated Sao Tome politics since it became independent from Portugal in 1975. Some 100,000 voters are eligible to cast their ballots on Sunday.
We now get into sports news. The Football Association of Zambia has taken note of the social media allegations on social abuse in women football in Zambia. FAS General Secretary Adrian Kashala says although there has been no record of an official complaint brought forward, Football House had opened an inquiry into the matter. Kashala says FAS is encouraging anyone with useful information on the matter to come forward and report either to FAS or law enforcement agencies. The FAS General Secretary Adrian Kashala says preparations for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup are firmly on course, with the team having innumerable engagement ahead of the tournament. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. President HH urges Zambians to stop paying attention to social media, and VIP implores the church to denounce homosexuality. ACC implored to investigate the 26 million kwacha Robert Makasha University scandal. The Police Public Complaints Commission implores people to report erring officers. And in international news, Nigeria struck by worst floods in a decade. And in sports, FAS opens inquiry on alleged sexual abuse incidents in women football. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Lamentations 3 verse 25 to 26, and it reads, "The Lord is God to those whose hope is in him. To the one who seeks him, it is God to wait quickly for the salvation of the Lord." Thank you for watching. Pleasant viewing.